Hey guys, AJYT Abbott here, and it is the video a lot of people probably have been waiting for, because I couldn't get the video done on Saturday, couldn't get it done on Sunday, or Monday, or Tuesday, because I have a research paper. I needed to get that done before I, started doing YouTube stuff. Um, so this will be going up on Wednesday instead of Saturday, so we're going to skip that day. I'm going to be pushing some movie reviews back, but I think the next one we have is, I think, actually, no, I'm not going to spoil a surprise. But yeah, there's one coming up this Saturday. And then, sorry, I just literally just dropped my phone. Sorry. There will be, um, jeez. I think the review after this one coming up Saturday is going to be Hellboy, I think. I honestly don't know. I need to look at my schedule. But yeah. Okay, so this is the Avengers Endgame review. I where do I even start, man? Okay, so the opening is just freaking amazing. And in case you guys are wondering why we're, not having the good and the bad, because there is nothing bad about this for me. This was the best movie I've ever seen in my entire life, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't think any other MCU movie or any movie period will top this. Infinity War was my favorite movie last year, and then Bohemian Rhapsody topped it. So I don't know. I could be wrong, but I think Endgame is gonna be my favorite movie of all time. Um, but the opening is just wow, incredibly heartbreaking. If you were in this situation that Hawkeye finds himself in, um, in case you guys haven't seen Avengers, sorry about that. In case you guys haven't seen Avengers Endgame, you guys need to get out of here because there will be some mega spoilers. Um so yeah. The opening is absolutely heartbreaking, like I said. Hawkeye loses his kids and his wife right in front of him. Well, not really right in front of him, but you know, pretty much right in front of him. Um, and it goes to Tony and Nebula in space. Um, they're playing paper football, which I found fun. I love how Nebula and Tony have kind of built up a friendship in the 22 days that they have, been on that ship. Also, I want to point out something. The MCU, if you put all of the um movies together, it's 3,000 minutes. I will get to that. I will explain what that means later. And also, there's 22 movies in the MCU, and it's been 22 days that Nebula and Tony been on that ship. Coincidence? I think not. So yeah, Tony rests, and then just literally immediately, Captain Marvel shows up and saves them, which is great. I thought it was a little bit rushed, but still, I'm all down. I'm down for Tony being saved. We already knew Tony was gonna be saved. I just thought it was gonna be like a little bit later in the movie, like maybe like 10 minutes later. But no, it's like immediately, like, boom, Captain Marvel found them. um, and then she brings him down to Earth. It's so heartbreaking seeing Steve and Tony together, because he gets off the he gets off the or not the Quinjet, the Benatar, the Guardian ship, and he's talking to Steve. He was like, I lost a kid, and he was like, I couldn't stop him, and Steve's like, yeah, I couldn't either. Man, that gave me chills, man. And they're all sitting in the little HQ there. Everybody that survived the snap, looking at the computer, seeing who died and who survived. I noticed Eric Selvig, the guy that was possessed by Loki. The Scepter in the first Avengers movie, the doctor guy that is friends with Thor, he got snapped, which is crazy to think about. Of course, they showed Shuri is dusted. Um, I don't know why they wouldn't show that in Infinity War, but okay. um, but yeah, and Tony is pissed. He's back to that narcissist Tony that we see in the first Iron Man. Super arrogant. He's all ignorant. Like, man, like we lost, and you. Or he was like, no, we lost, and I lost, and you weren't there, Cap. Getting all in Steve's face. He even rips off his. Oh my gosh, he rips off his arc reactor out of his chest. He's like, here, you go find Thanos, you put that on. Wow, man, I was so surprised about that. Tony just went off on him. Um, you know, and basically, whew, basically, a lot of the things that go on in this movie, you don't really see coming. Not really. And Tony's little outburst like that, it was incredibly out of nowhere. Um, and, so anyway, after they do that, Tony's laying down in the bed, Captain Marvel gets up, she's like, I also don't like how Captain Marvel was portrayed in this movie. She was kind of arrogant. She was like, man, I'm gonna go to Thanos and beat everybody up, kill everything without y'all, acting like she's the big bad, the strongest Avenger. Or she's not really an Avenger, but like the strongest hero, which I would say she is. But, she doesn't have to rub it in people's faces. Rocket lost his whole entire family. Steve's lost almost everything. Clint, he's a mess. So yeah, she didn't have to rub it in to everyone. But, it's okay. Yeah, she's like, I'm gonna go kill Thanos. So they go to Thanos' place, and Thor chops his head off and kills him right there. So then I got confused. I was like, wait, huh? And then I remember they're gonna do time travel, so I was like, oh shoot, they're gonna bring back a past Thanos accidentally, aren't they? So I kind of guessed that, but literally almost everything else in the movie you cannot guess. So that was cool. So another thing that happened during this first part of the movie is there was a 5-year time skip. Tony and Pepper have a kid. Um, everybody's still working together. Captain Marvel has changed her hair. I'm not too fond of the haircut, but it's okay. It'll grow back in good time. It'll grow back. It'll be back by the time Captain Marvel 2 happens for sure. I mean, I don't see it really staying around for that long. um so then after the time skip happens, we see, Nat and Steve talking about, people moving on and everything, but not but not us. Um so that was really cool cuz I do love that line from the Super Bowl TV spot. Um then we see Scott, he's still in the quantum realm van. Apparently he was in there for 5 hours, but he was actually in there for 5 years. But for him, it felt like 5 hours, and for him, it was 5 hours. But, in, reality, it was 5 years. So, sorry. So Cassie, his daughter, has grown up. And that's really sad. So yeah, he finds her, finds Avengers HQ. We have the scene from the end of the first Avengers trailer, the first Endgame trailer, saying, like, man, he's like, guys, can you let me in? It's Ant-Man and everything. Yeah, he's saying all that, and then basically they let him in. He's talking about the quantum realm, time travel, to go visit Tony. Tony, is sort of closed off still. He doesn't want to lose what he had. Well, he's not really closed off, but he doesn't want to lose what he has. He has Pepper. He has a kid. Like they said in Infinity War, they named it Morgan, after his after Pepper's great grandfather, I believe it was. And that was really heartwarming. And then here it comes. This is the tie-in for that reference I made earlier. Before Iron Man goes to talk to Pepper, he's putting Morgan to bed, and she says, "I love you 3000." And if you add up, like I said, if you add up all the MCU movies, it is 300 or 3,000 minutes long. Coincidence? I think not. Um, but yeah, after pretty much almost everybody is trying to get the team back together. Hulk, Professor Hulk, he is now, of course, Bruce and Hulk mixed, which is really cool. He dabbed, and has a selfie with kids, and the Ant-Man's like, "Hey, you want to get a selfie with Ant-Man?" That was pretty funny. Um, by the way, there's a lot of cameos in this movie. Just gonna point that out. Yvette Nicole Brown, was cool. Everything. Stanley, of course. We'll get to that later on. This will be like a half-hour video. I'm feeling, or 45 or 50 minute, maybe an hour, possibly. I don't know if I can honestly sit here and talk about it for an hour, but you know what? Damn it, we're gonna try. Because this is Avengers Endgame, and we are pulling out all the stops with this. So yeah. After they, talk to Tony, we meet Professor Hulk. Debs asks kids for a photo. Ant-Man tries to ask them for a photo. They don't know who Ant-Man is, so he's like, just give him back the goddamn phone. Then Rocket and Nebula land, at Avengers HQ. And I love how Nebula is like, she sees Ant-Man, and then she's like, she's like, Rhodey, be careful on re-entry. There's an idiot in the landing zone. That was pretty funny for me. And we have the scene from that one TV spot where War Machine lands. He's like, "What's up, regular sized man?" But yeah, they go to New Asgard. Rocket and Hulk do. Of course we have Valkyrie. She's back, which was cool to see. Because, we haven't seen her since Thor Ragnarok. She wasn't in Infinity War. We all knew she was going to be in Endgame, but, she wasn't in there for that long, but she did have actually, no, she had a really epic moment in the final battle. We'll get to that. She had a really epic moment in the final battle. A few of them, actually. So, yeah, we see her, and then we see Korg and Meek, who we haven't seen since Thor Ragnarok, and they're playing Fortnite. And Thor is a absolute freaking mess. And Rocket says, "You look like melted ice cream." And Thor has a huge belly and a huge beard, and pretty much I would probably say close to the type of hair he had in Age of Ultron, or Thor Ragnarok, the beginning of Thor Ragnarok, before he gets his hair cut. So yeah, the gut, a lot of people had a problem with that. It's okay. I mean, it kind of bumped him down a place, because I don't like Thor as much as I do two more characters. You can probably guess which two, because they're very prominent in this film. In fact, both of them have the almost exact same amount of screen time, and the most screen time. Tony and Cap. Um, so yeah. Like I was saying, Thor, they're talking to Thor. They mention Thanos, and Thor's like really, for some reason, he's almost like he's really depressed. Over, kind of getting half the universe killed. If he knew what Star-Lord had done, he would have definitely been less depressed. Jesus. Wow. So, oh my gosh. So then, we have Thor's finally convinced, and that just leaves Clint. So Black Widow goes to, I think it was Tokyo, and Hawkeye's there killing people as Ronin. And I love when he kicks the guy out of the window and falls down, and the guy's like, why are you doing this?" And then Hawkeye says something along the lines of like, half the universe or half the universe, or no, you survived, half the universe didn't. That was cold, man. And then he just proceeds to, face off against him and slit his throat, which was incredibly dark. Nat, convinces Clint to come back to the team. So now, that just leaves Tony. Tony comes, after, seeing a picture of Peter. He works on a time traveling sort of wristband thing. Um, and does that, figures that out, brings Cap's shield to him, and we are finally ready for them to test out the quantum realm. They have some pin particles there. And what else? They get the quantum realm suits on. Scott tests it. He gets turned into a young boy, then an elderly man, then an infant, and then finally back to normal Scott. And then Hulk's sort of impressed, and then Steve just walks away in disappointment. So that was cool. So yeah, Steve's he's sort of iffy on this whole time travel thing. He doesn't know if Scott fully understands, but he does. He's got it under control. So the team is ready. To, go to the quantum realm. They have their teams, they have their missions, no mistakes, no do-overs, just the fight of our lives. We gotta win, whatever it takes. And they finally go into the quantum realm. Now, Tony, Scott, Cap, and Hulk go to what is possibly, most likely, my favorite one of my favorite parts and moments of the movie. They go to the Battle of New York in 2012 from the first Avengers movie. That's freaking awesome. I absolutely love that. Thor and Rocket go to Thor the Dark World in 2013 to get the Reality Stone. By the way, Tony, Scott, Cap, and Hulk are getting the Space Stone. Yeah, the Tesseract, the Space Stone, and the Mind Stone. Or not the Mind. I'm sorry, not the Mind Stone. I'm sorry. The friggin'. Oh my god, what's it called? You know what I'm trying to say. The Time Stone. Yes, the Time Stone. So yeah. Thor and Rocket are trying to get the Reality Stone. And then, who else? Nebula and War Machine are tasked with getting the Power Stone from Quill, because they go to 2014? Yeah, 2014 to Guardians of the Galaxy, the beginning, when Quill gets the stone, and Korath comes there with some of his people, and they're like, "Who?" And he's like, "I'm Star-Lord, man." Yeah, that part, they go back to that, and I love how War Machine sees Quill dancing, and he's like, "So he's an idiot," and Nebula's like, "Yeah, pretty much." That was pretty funny. Um, at least I found that funny. And then basically what happens is War Machine walks up and knocks Quill out cold. That was hilarious. And Black Widow and Hawkeye, they go to Vormir in 2014. And this is when a very emotional scene comes up. We'll get to it in a minute. Because basically, what happens in New York is very complicated. So Tony gets up to the Stark Tower. they're wrapping up the whole battle thing. That's when Loki's on the ground after being smashed, and they're all posing and pointing stuff at him. And he's like, "It's all the same to you. I'll have that drink now." It's the end of Avengers, pretty much the battle. Um, so then then they make Hulk go downstairs because all of the Avengers keep. Now remember, these are the ones from 2012. They make the 2012 Hulk go downstairs. Keep that in mind because that gets important later. Um, excuse me. So basically, after that, whew, after that, there is a moment where Tony is like, "Man, Cap, you something along the lines of like your ass did not look good in 2012." And then Scott's like, "Don't worry, Captain. As far as I'm concerned, that's America's ass." That is possibly my favorite Ant-Man line. Um, yeah, my favorite Ant-Man line since oh yeah. This is probably my favorite Ant-Man line since the time when he's, grows big in Ant-Man the Wasp. He's like, like trying to like frighten the people a little bit. Oh my gosh, that was fun. But yeah, there's a moment where um Tony and, the rest of the Avengers from 2012, except for Cap, because Cap goes off somewhere else for a perimeter check, and the present Cap ends up getting to a elevator with Rumlow, which is Crossbones, and a bunch of the other Hydra agents. It's reminiscent. I think that's exactly what they were going for. They're referencing the elevator fight from Winter Soldier. Um, and Cap, he feels it coming. He's like, man, these guys can jump me any second. So he leans over. He leans over to the guy that Winter Soldier kills in the car chase scene where he pulls the guy out of the car and throws him onto the street and kills him. The Hydra agent. Um and and he whispers in his ear, "Hail Hydra." That was amazing. I was like, "Holy crap." I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's insane." And then, of course, I wasn't thinking about the butterfly effect and how it wasn't really effective in the MCU. I was like, "Oh wow." I was like, "How is that going to work for the future?" But of course, the director said, the butterfly effect, Mandela effect, they don't work they don't really operate properly in the MCU. So, they're all heading downstairs, the 2012 Avengers, except for Cap, right? And they run into Robert Redford from Winter Soldier, and they demand the Tesseract. So basically, the Tesseract gets flung around in a suitcase. Iron Man grabs it. Then, this is when the Hulk comes in. The Hulk comes crashing in from walking down all those stairs, knocks Tony over, and then causes to go over and release the Tesseract onto the floor. Loki grabs the Tesseract. 2012 Loki grabs the Tesseract and leaves. I honestly wonder if when he left there, he gave that stone to Thanos. Because if so, that timeline is screwed. Um, yeah, that timeline is so screwed if that's what happened there. Um, before that though, Ant-Man goes inside of Tony's arc reactor and messes up some stuff and causes Tony to have a heart attack, sort of. But then Thor has a genius idea. Honestly, it was really cool. I don't know why people aren't giving him props for that, because that was actually a really cool moment. Thor lightly drops and picks up the hammer off of Tony's chest, and it kickstarts his heart again. I was like, whoa, that was actually a really cool move he did right there. That was really cool. So in Thor: The Dark World, which everybody knows almost on this channel, if you've seen my ranking videos for the MCU, it's my least favorite MCU movie. They found a way to actually make me enjoy being back in this movie's, art style and not art style, landscape. What the heck? I love the art style of Asgard. um, Frigga, Thor's mom, actually has a decent character, like a character it's weird because she's given like lots of character development in this tiny little scene that they give her of her talking to Thor. And she's dead, she's been dead since Thor: The Dark World. And it's so crazy that you can give a dead character so much empathy and so much character development. I honestly thought that was great. Same thing with the Ancient One, and some other characters that that have been gone for a while that have been kind of sort of not brought back, but called back on in these little time travel scenes. Like Howard Stark, because Tony meets up with Howard Stark, his dad, of course, and talks to him, and that was a really emotional scene because Tony never got to say goodbye to his dad. Um, and he was devastated when he found out they were dead, especially his mom. But he's got to feel for his dad. His dad even says that his greatest creation was Tony. And he even mentions my wife is in labor and everything, or not my wife is in labor. But, my wife is having a kid. Oh man, that hit hard because Tony's about to be born. I love how when Howard first sees him and Tony's all nervous, so then when Howard asks his name, Tony's like, Howard Potts. That's crazy. Also, it's kind of a nice touch. I don't know if some people notice this, but when Howard Stark, after him and Tony, exchange in like a hug and, their conversation ends, Howard goes to the limo and his limo driver is Jarvis. His name is Jarvis. That was really cool. That was a really nice touch. Um, and I feel like not many people really saw that coming because there's so much else going on with this time travel stuff. Nobody really pays to like the really really small details unless you're like a hardcore mega fan like some people, including me. Um, so let's see what happens next. Oh yeah, Frigga. So yeah, Thor and Frigga are talking. She figures out that he's from the future and everything. And they get the Reality Stone. Apparently, Rocket injects it out of Jane, like literally, like stabs her with something, and not. I mean, I'm sure he didn't like, kill her, but he stabs her and gets the gets the ether out of her. So yeah, they have the Reality Stone. Tony, lost the Space Stone in New York, so that's what leads him to go to, the place where he meets up with Howard Stark. They get the space or they get the Space Stone from there, and they get the pin particles because they needed more. Um Meanwhile, Thanos from 2014, Guardians of the Galaxy, he is talking to Nebula and Gamora from 2014, Guardians of the Galaxy. And Nebula started glitching out because her memory is apparently interlocked with the 2023 present Avengers Endgame um Nebula. So their memories are sort of intertwined, so that's how Thanos knows about their plan. And that's when it all came into, full circle for me. I was like, oh man, they're gonna have to fight 2014 Thanos. So yeah, he finds out about, their plan and everything. Um, and they capture the 2000 they capture the present Nebula. Um, yeah, they capture the present Nebula. Before she's able to go out of the quantum realm or out of 2014 with War Machine. Um, So yeah, War Machine and them. So basically, right now they have all the stones except for the Soul Stone. That is when Hawkeye, Black Widow, they head up. Red Skull's there, tells them they have to lose or they have to lose something that they love, and they both look at each other, and they have this sort of emotional moment where they're like, okay, okay, I'll do it. And then Hawkeye says, tell my kids, or tell my kids I love them, or my family that I love them. And then Black Widow attacks him, tases him. She says, you can tell him yourself. She starts running. Clint stops her, blows up, shoots an arrow and blows up the pathway that she's running on. So that you know throws her to the side. And then Clint throws down his arrow, and then there's a moment where you actually think Clint is going to be the one that does it. But then he jumps off, Black Widow jumps off with him, they grapple to the cliff, and now they're hanging, and Black Widow, who, by the way, is given an amazing arc in this movie. At the beginning, she's talking about she had nothing until she had this, the Avengers, her family. And it's been 5 years, and she really is missing all those people that she lost. Um, so they give her like almost a sort of redemptive arc, because after Civil War, she is really closed off, hardly trusts anybody but Falcon and Cap and, some of the other Avengers that help them out in Wakanda in Infinity War. And now in Endgame, she has this family, she's appreciative of what she has, she's appreciative of what she has because of what she lost. And then she makes the ultimate sacrifice, kicks the cliff, causing Clint to let her go, and Black Widow falls down to her death and assures that the team wins by, sacrificing her life. And she dies. Clint gets the Soul Stone. They all go back to the quantum, or they go get out of the quantum realm, and it is super sad. It is incredibly sad. They're all standing outside of Avengers HQ. Thor almost can't come to terms with it. He's like, why are we acting like she's dead? As long as we have the stones, we can bring her back, right? Clint explains. He has this nice little. Well, it's not nice because he has a tone of voice. He's like, it can't be undone. He's like, at least that's what the bread floating guy said. So why don't you go grab your hammer and you go talk to him? So, he's pissed about it. Hulk's really pissed about it. Or Professor Hulk, Bruce, whoever you want to call him. He's really pissed about it. Cap is crying. Tony's upset visually, obviously. And, I'm sure some of the others were in, disbelief that she was gone. Tony and Cap really, almost, yeah, all four of them, or all, the rest of the Avengers, because that is one of the official first six Avengers that is dead now, and that's hard to sort of come to terms with. It's hard to come to terms with the fact that, after 20 movies, including Endgame, she's been around since Iron Man 2, so yeah, that's 20 movies. After 20 movies, and 10 years in the MCU, she is taken out in just such a sacrificial and emotional way to where I think that even people that didn't necessarily like her all that much in these recent movies still felt something when she fell off that cliff. So yeah, Black Widow dies for the Soul Stone. So now they have all the stones. Now, is the question of who gets to, basically, who gets to put on the gauntlet. And, Thor's eager, like incredibly eager to, put it on. But, Tony says you're in no condition and everything. Cap can't put it on, it'll kill him. Clint can't put it on. And Hulk says, it's gotta be me. Meanwhile, while they're doing this, Nebula, present Nebula, is with 2014 Gamora and Thanos, and the Nebula, the evil Nebula from 2014 Guardians of the Galaxy, is at Avengers HQ, and she does what, of course, an evil Nebula would do: opens up the quantum realm to Thanos' ship. I honestly don't know how any of them didn't hear Thanos' ship crash through the freaking ceiling when it came out of the quantum realm. So Thanos is loose in 2023 or 2023 now. So Hulk puts on the gauntlet, his arm gets like really burnt, like seriously burned. Like, we're not talking 3rd-degree burns, this is like 5th or 6th-degree burns. If that's even a thing. But yeah, it was a very severe burn. Basically, what I really did enjoy about this scene is that, they're all like, "Talk to me, Banner." He's like, "Banner, are you okay?" And he toughs through it. Hulk toughs through it, because it's not just all Hulk. It's Bruce in there too. So Bruce feels it and Hulk feels it. It's a combination of their pain. And he gets through it, and he snaps his fingers. Unfortunately, as soon as the snap occurs, as soon as he snaps, um, you know, Clint's wife calls, which is good. She's alive. Scott looks out a window, sees a bunch of birds and trees, very lively. And then this is what kicks off the final battle and one of the most epic fights. Actually, no, I'm calling this right now. The most epic fight in the entire MCU. Thanos' ship hovers upon hovers over the Avengers HQ, fires dozens of missiles, and blows up the entire thing, almost killing all of our favorite characters, all of our characters that were inside the HQ. Burying them in rubble and, covering them in dust, splitting them apart pretty much. Clint is with the gauntlet, and he has to run away from some of the Outriders, I think. It was like either Outriders or Chitauri. It was hard to see with the lighting. I think it was the Outriders from Infinity War. The little dog-looking things. Yeah, I think it was those. But yeah, he's running away from those. Nebula comes, and 2023 present Nebula comes, and then 2014 Gamora teams up with that Nebula to try and stop the bad Nebula from 2014. Bad Nebula from 2014 doesn't listen, so 2023 Nebula kills 2014 Nebula. I don't know how that time travel works. I'm pretty sure 2023 Nebula would be dead, but apparently, once again, butterfly effect, Mandela effect, does not work, does not apparently fathom inside of the MCU. So yeah, there's that. So yeah, Clint's with the gauntlet that Tony made. Tony and Cap and Thor are, out of the rubble, and they're looking at Thanos just sitting down, waiting for them to come. And then Hulk, Ant-Man, Rhodey, and Rocket are all buried under rubble. Ant-Man comes to try and save the day. Rhodey and Rocket get out of there, and Hulk gets out of there by, Ant-Man growing big. Later on, it doesn't happen like right after, you see Ant-Man coming for them. Basically they Cap and Iron Man and Thor fight. Thor almost gets killed, Iron Man gets knocked out, and Cap's shield is almost completely destroyed. And also, when Thanos is just about to kill Thor's hammer, Mjolnir, which, by the way, I forgot to mention, Thor gets Mjolnir back. There's a seriously pissed off Thor in the 2013 Thor the Dark World timeline, who doesn't have his Mjolnir. But yeah, Mjolnir starts to lift up, flies towards something, and then we see probably one of my favorite shots in the entire movie, no joke. Captain America holding on to Mjolnir. That was freaking awesome. And he fights Thanos with Mjolnir. Uses oh my gosh, he throws his shield and then throws Mjolnir and then causes Mjolnir and the shield to cause like a sort of like a what's it called? Freaking like a sound wave or I don't know what you guys want to call it. But yeah, it causes that and it messes Thanos up, knocks him down and everything. And then Thanos goes head on with Captain America, breaks part of his shield. Um, and then Cap gets knocked down. He's beaten, he's bloody, he's dirty, all grimy and everything. And then we get that shot from the trailer that I loved, where he stands up, tightens his shield, and starts walking towards the army of Chitauri and Outriders, and he Thanos even has he brings back Corvus, or not brings back, but they're already there because it was 2014. He has Corvus Glaive, Proxima Midnight, Ebony Maw, and Cull Obsidian there with him. The children of Thanos from Infinity War there, and it's Chitauri, the children of Thanos, and Thanos, and tons of shit. There's probably like millions, oh my gosh, it is a lot of Chitauri. Probably more than New York. Um, it was probably like more than New York, and more than the number of robots and Age of Ultron combined. That's how many there were. Yeah, that's a lot of friggin' Chitauri. Um, so yeah, Cap starts walking up to them triumphantly, like without fear, honestly. And then this is probably the best moment of the movie next to this is probably this is the best moment of the movie, because I was about to say the top one is, you know, what happens a little bit later, and that is honestly the saddest next to Black Widow's death. You guys can probably guess what it is. um, but yeah, Cap starts walking up, like I said, and then he hears out of his earpiece, um, somebody garbling, like speaking like garbly, and then finally we get to hear it clearly as the portal starts to open. On Cap's left, Sam says his classic line, "On your left." Cap turns around, and it's Black Panther, Shuri, Okoye, and upon thousands of not only the Jabari, the Dora Milaje, just Wakanda warriors in general. Man, it's insane and epic. Um, so basically, Cap has an army of Wakanda now, and Falcon comes out, Bucky, Groot, literally everybody that died in Wakanda comes. Then tons of other portals start coming out. It's Valkyrie, Korg, Meek, and all the remaining Asgardians from the new Asgard coming out. Um the Guardians of the Galaxy minus Gamora and Rocket, of course. And Doctor Strange, Wong, and a ton of sorcerers from the Sanctum Sanctorum come. And Wasp is there. Um and there's a bunch of Ravagers from space coming out, and even Howard the Duck makes a cameo. If you guys go rewatch that movie when it comes out, or go see it in theater or something, when the Wasp appears on screen for like the first time, look to the right of her and you will see Howard the Duck among a ton of Ravagers. That was absolutely insane, and I cannot believe I saw that within my first screening of the movie. Um, could not believe that happened. That was a great cameo. Um, by the way, Stan Lee's cameo was really cool. It was him in a race car. But yeah. So everybody's coming together. Um, like literally everyone is coming together. We have Wakanda, the Sorcerers, the Asgardians. You have the Guardians of the Galaxy. We have the Ravagers. We have the Avengers. It's an absolutely amazing lineup of characters. Spider-Man comes, of course, and then Ant-Man turns giant. Hulk, Rocket, and War Machine hop down. Um, and Thanos orders his men to go, and then Cap, as it shows a huge line of the characters now all assembled: the Sorcerers, Ravagers, Guardians, Wakanda Warriors, everybody, literally everyone we've seen in the MCU so far, mostly. Even Pepper in the rescue armor comes, which is freaking awesome, by the way. And I cannot believe they did that. I cannot believe they pulled that surprise on us in the last act. You guys can tell I'm excited because we are about to get into some juicy stuff with this last final battle. So literally everybody's lined up together, and Cap says, "Avengers!" And then Mjolnir comes to him, and he's like, "Assemble!" And everybody starts running in. There's blasts going everywhere. Shuri's blasting, Thor's shooting thunder, Iron Man's blasting with Pepper. Cap's running in, and Bucky and Rocket are fighting off people. Groot, oh man, Star-Lord's fighting people, and he's got this guy on top of him. And 2014 Gamora shoots the guy. Quill walks over to the 2014 Gamora, and then he puts her hand on it. He's like, "I thought I lost you." He doesn't know. He doesn't know that's a past Thanos, or sorry, past Gamora. And basically, he gets kicked in the nuts twice. Well, actually, no. He said she missed the first time, and then the second time she got both. God, I love that. And Nebula's like, it was either him or a tree. That was a fun line. So yeah, like I said, everybody's running in and fighting, and Baku's there, of course, fighting off. Black Panther and Okoye are side by side. Scarlet Witch has an amazing moment in this where she starts tearing apart Thanos, like literally tearing him apart, tearing his armor off, throwing stuff at him, um, almost literally tearing him apart with her powers. She's like, "You took everything from me." He's like, "I don't even know who the hell you are." And she actually hurts him and injures him so much and is so powerful that it forces Thanos to tell Corvus Glaive to he's like, "Rain fire!" And he's like, "But our troops." And he's like, "Just do it." So yeah, they start firing down on everybody. Meanwhile, while that's happening, Thor and Cap are fighting side by side, and Stormbreaker goes into Cap's hands, and Thor has Mjolnir, and Thor's like, "No, you take the little one. I'll take Stormbreaker." And they're running in. Everybody's getting shot at by the cannons from Thanos' ship. Rocket protects Groot, which was a pretty good scene. And then once the firing stops, once the firing stops, the cannons start firing into the sky, right? This was actually a really cool moment. So the cannons start firing into the sky, and then Sam's like, "What the hell is this?" And then Tony's like, "Friday, where are they firing at?" And it's Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, with her short hair. I didn't really like that, but she's still badass. And she flies, literally flies through it once and blows up and destroys Thanos' ship. Thanos looks absolutely like just shocked when that happened. If you go rewatch that movie and you see his face once the ship is blown up and starts falling to the ground, you can see the utter disappointment in his face. Oh my gosh. Um, and Ant-Man and the Wasp are trying to get to their van, the quantum tunnel, to throw the stones in there, and Thanos, tries to stop everybody. Of course, Black Panther takes the gauntlet from Clint, and then Spider-Man takes the gauntlet from Black Panther. And then Spider-Man gets lifted up by Pepper, thrown onto Valkyrie, her Pegasus, and then that gets blown. Spider-Man lands on the ground. Carol comes down. She's like, "What's up, Peter Parker? You got something for me?" And he gives the gauntlet to her. And then here comes one of my favorite moments. Peter is like, I don't know how you're gonna get through all of that. And then Scarlet Witch comes down, Valkyrie, Okoye, Wasp, Gamora, Nebula, Pepper, Mantis, literally every single girl in the MCU comes down, and and then Okoye is like, don't worry, she's got help, and they all run in to protect Captain Marvel. Some of them don't even really know her. The only person that really knows her is Okoye. Yet they still help her. I think I left. Yeah, Shuri. Um, yeah, literally all of them help out. In getting Captain Marvel to the quantum realm van. Not Louise's van, but the van where the quantum tunnel was in Ant-Man and the Wasp. Unfortunately, Thanos throws his sword thing into the quantum tunnel, blows that up. Captain Marvel tries to get Thanos basically away from everyone. She tries to get him from getting the stones, and she holds him back for a good while. And then Thanos takes out one of the stones, the Power Stone, from the gauntlet. Uses the Power Stone to punch Captain Marvel. That actually does knock her down for a good bit. Um, and then he wears the Stark gauntlet. Iron Man tries to put up one last stand, and here it comes. Thanos, knocks Iron Man back, and he says the line that he says in the beginning of the movie. He says, "I am inevitable," and snaps his fingers, and nothing happens. And literally everyone in my theater that was watching this movie was completely 100% quiet in this moment. It goes to Tony, who has all 6 Infinity Stones now in his grasp, on his hand, and his words are, before he snaps, says, "I am Iron Man." Snaps his fingers, and then Thanos' army starts turning to dust. We see Ebony Maw turn to dust, those little Chitauri things turn to dust. We see one of those big monsters that are flying through the sky in Avengers almost kill Rocket turn to dust. We see Black Panther and Quill seeing all the monsters turning to dust, all the Chitauri, turning to dust. And, Thanos looks super defeated, as he is. And, he just sits down like he did at the end of Infinity War, only this time, he is not safe, and we see him slowly but inevitably, and I love how they did this, they made Thanos turn to dust, like, really slow. We finally see Thanos, who we've been waiting to see this happen to, since he dusted, Spider-Man, Quill, Doctor Strange, and Infinity War. We see Thanos finally and inevitably turn to dust. Iron Man is incredibly injured by the snap. And, half his face is all messed up, his arm is completely burnt. War Machine comes over there and shares a nice little glance with him, like, "It's okay, man, it's okay." And then here's the real tear jerker for me. And literally one kid in the back of the theater, this was all that was said really during this scene, said, "He's about to cry, yo." I found that funny. But yeah. Tony is injured. War Machine shares a look with him, and here comes the tearjerker for me. Peter comes over. He's like, "Hey, Mr. Stark, we did it. We won." He said, "Mr. Stark, can you hear me? It's Peter. We won. We won. You did it, sir. You did it." And he starts crying. He's like, "I'm sorry, Tony." And that's so heartbreaking. And like Tony just, man, it hurts so much, man. Trust me explaining it hurts way less than actually witnessing it in theaters. You all need to go see this in theaters to truly experience the amount of emotion and epicness I'm explaining to you guys right now. And I can't believe I've been talking about this for almost 55 minutes. um, But yeah, Tony is seriously injured, like I said. Peter and War Machine, they walk up to him, and Pepper talks to him. She says, like, Tony, look at me. And she says, this is the final moments of Tony Stark. She says, we're gonna be okay. And he smiles at her, and she says, you can rest now. That hurt me too. And then Tony, he turns his head. We see his arc reactor turn off, and Tony Stark, billionaire, playboy, philan, fudge sake. Tony Stark, billionaire, playboy, fudge sake. We see Tony Stark, billionaire, genius, playboy, fudge sake. Just never mind, guys. Just never mind. I can't say it. But yeah, you know what I was going for there. He is dead. The funeral scene absolutely hurts. We see Clint go back to his family before that, but then Peter, Hulk, Thor, literally everybody that was in the battle, and everybody that really has known Tony. Nick Fury's there, Maria Hill is there. Another heartbreaking thing is that the kid. If you guys didn't know who the guy was that was standing behind Scarlet Witch, Bucky, and Sam, that was the kid from Iron Man 3. The kid that helps Tony with his armor and everything in Iron Man 3, that's him. Which was absolutely just heartbreaking for me because, Tony was, his hero and everything. He knew Tony personally and helped him out and everything. And, he died. Yeah, Maria Hill's there. Even the freaking director is there. The dude that's man, I can't remember. It was the dude that was in Incredible Hulk, and he was in Civil War. He's the guy that came up with the Sokovia Accords. He was like, you guys need to be put in check and everything. I forget what his name was. I really wish I didn't, but I really do. I forget it. Ross. That's right. It was Ross. Yeah. You guys know who I'm talking about, probably. It was the same guy in Infinity War. Cap was like, if you want to stand in our way, we'll fight you too. It was that guy. It was Ross. Um, but yeah, basically, after the funeral scene, we see Wanda and Clint talking about Black Widow. Her knowing that they won and everything, and Tony knowing that they'll remember him and everything, and she's like, they know. Um, and seeing her in this movie being all badass, it's got me really excited for the WandaVision show coming to Disney Plus, set in the 1950s. That could be very interesting. Um, so yeah, we've almost hit the hour mark. We're almost through the movie, guys. Another big thing that happened is that basically Guardians 3 was teased heavily because Thor kind of joins the Guardians at the end of the movie, and another cool thing is that he hands over the title of ruler of Asgard to Valkyrie. So Valkyrie is the true ruler of Asgard now, not Thor. Um and we have Thor going with the Guardians, and we have a nice little banter between him and Star-Lord. That's going to be really fun to see in Guardians 3. I think Guardians 3 will be about them trying to find 2014 Gamora and reconnecting with her, because we see Star-Lord before Thor walks up to him and starts talking to him that he's looking at a picture of Gamora, sort of like a tracking system almost. He's sort of tracking her. So I think that's what Guardians 3 will be about. Finding Gamora. So we've almost hit the hour mark. We are like 40 minutes away. So yeah, that pretty much wraps it up, except for one last scene, probably one of the most important scenes in the movie. There is no after credit scene, by the way, guys. Except for there is a really awesome tribute to all the actors in the movie. At the end, basically Captain America he has to take all the stones back to their right timeline. I guess he took Mjolnir with him too. And he does so. He puts the stones back, but then we see somebody sitting on a bench, and Sam and Bucky. Sam walks up to him, and it's revealed that Cap put the stones back, put Mjolnir back, and then instead of being frozen in the ice for all them years, he decided to live his life with Peggy Carter, and grow old with her. And she is still dead in the present timeline. But sitting on that bench when Sam walks over is an old Cap, probably in his 80s, maybe 90s. I think 80s or 70s possibly. Um, but yeah, it's an old Cap, and old Cap hands Sam the Captain America shield, and Sam is Captain America now. And he's like, "Thank you," and he was like, "I'll serve well," and Captain America was like, "I wouldn't give it to you if I knew you wouldn't." Man, and then the movie ends with a shot of Captain America and Peggy dancing, kissing, and just living out life together. And that, my friends, was my very, very in-depth review. Like, this was an hour. This is definitely my longest movie review. This was my review for Avengers Endgame, the culmination of 11 years and 22, including this one, movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the end of the Infinity Saga, and the penul, pen, the penul, the, never mind, the, penultimate, never mind. You guys know what I'm saying. The second to last movie in the phase 3 of the MCU, because we still have Far From Home. But yeah, this is the end for the Avengers right now. I'm sure they'll be back. Just it won't have Tony, it won't have Steve, probably won't have Clint, and it won't have Natasha. So it'll really, and Thor's with the Guardians. So honestly, it's just Hulk. It's literally just Hulk and like Captain Marvel will probably be off protecting space, but maybe she'll come back, for be Avenger. Doctor Strange and um, friggin' Spider-Man, Black Panther, Ant-Man, all that. So yeah, I want to thank you all very much for watching this review for Endgame. If you guys have watched this much, that is insane. You guys are a trooper. You guys are troopers. Um, And yeah, let me know what you guys liked about this movie. Let me know what you didn't like. I mean, there are a few things I wasn't completely happy with, but in terms of like big things, I freaking love this movie, and it is my favorite MCU movie. It is my favorite movie, period. And I'm so glad that I've been on this ride for so long. Thank you all very much for being on this ride. If you guys have been on this ride with me too, because I reviewed Spider-Man: Homecoming years back. I've been doing Marvel videos kind of ever since that. So yeah, wow. I'll see you guys for the next review on Saturday. Yeah, man, whatever it takes.